Not in there. Nope, not there. Oh, hey, there you guys are. Look, real quick question for you. Does this seem familiar?
Oh, no.
Oh, well, if so, you came to the right place. So yes, today we are talking about how to make and maintain a very simple college budgeting plan. It's really quite simple, guys. We can make as much or as little money as we want. All right, if you get paid once or twice a month, you can make that work through college. But if we're gonna spend all that money right away, we're gonna be back into a really bad position right after we get that payment. So what this whole budgeting plan is for is to try and make sure that we space out our money appropriately so that we have enough of it to use throughout the month or whatever the period is between your when you are getting paid. It's gonna be real simple. We're gonna jump into the computer here in just a second. I set up kind of a fake mock budget for you to show you how I would do it. There's a whole bunch of different programs you can use, a whole bunch of different ways you can do this, but I'm gonna be doing it in Excel. You can use Google Sheets, and there's a whole bunch of other apps and stuff you can use as well. This one is very bare bones simple. This is just to kind of keep things organized, keep things in check, extrapolate from this as much as you want to add more categories and make it more complex depending on what your situation might be. And I do want to personally welcome you to the holiday season, whatever holiday that is that you celebrate. I hope the time leading up to that right now is going really well. But that's just another thing. This is definitely the gift giving season. And really we want to make sure that we have enough money to give out those gifts. That's a really important thing is like we're at a time of the year where money is going out pretty fast depending on your situation and if you choose to celebrate or not. And if you do choose to celebrate and give gifts this time of year, it's very important to stay on top of that money to make sure you have enough for what the gifts you need to give and enough for yourself as well and all the other responsibilities that you have. So this video at this time of year is really important. And so the first thing I want to show you before we jump into the computer is my schedule. So this is what my monthly schedule looks like. You can see we're in December 2019. Today is currently the 5th. And what I want to show you here is not just kind of what I have written down, but what I want to show you is that I mark my paydays. These are for where I work. I work at Starbucks, and I know for a fact that we pay every other week. And so on these days, I'm getting paid. You can see I have that marked into the next month as well. And that way I just always can keep in mind, I know when I have a paycheck coming in. Also, I mark in the hours of my shifts, so I know exactly how many hours I'm gonna be working, and I can calculate how much I'm gonna be getting paid on that day. The importance of that is very simple, okay? It's the first step of making a solid college budget or a budget for any time in your life, is we have to understand how much we have coming in, and also the different income sources that we have coming in as well. So what that means is like, if you're just getting paid from your part-time job, understanding how much about you're getting paid per week, understanding when you're getting paid, but then if you're doing other stuff on the side, any freelance work, any entrepreneurial stuff, if you're selling things or it's your birthday or anything like that, you're getting extra money in, we want to make sure that we have that understood as well so we can actually budget that correctly, because it's going to be very hard to budget our funds if we don't know what we have coming in. It's going to be very easy for that money to get away with us, and if we don't keep track of it, it's going to become even easier to spend it and potentially waste that money. So we want to make sure that we have I use a monthly planner. There's apps on your phone you can use. I mean, it even comes like with Apple phones and Samsung phones as well, the calendar app. You can mark stuff on there as well if that's the way you want to do it. I like it in writing, that's just me. But I like to know exactly when I'm getting paid, what I'm getting paid, and that way it's going to be easier for me to keep track of that and then put it in to the budget on the computer. So let's jump into that right now. All right, so here we are in Excel, and what I've done is I've just prepared a kind of mock old budget so I can kind of show you what it is that I like to do and how I like to budget my money, to keep track of what I have, where that money needs to go, and everything like that. So on the right here, you can see that we have our total, and we have a couple different categories here. So iPad 2, paintball gear, punching bag, DVDs. What does that stand for? Well, those are some things I sold a while back. And over here, the next thing we have is we have our cost column, and that is gonna represent how much I got paid for those items. And then what we do is we have our 3 different categories. So the 3 categories I'm working with today are long-term savings, Christmas fund, and personal fund. So what are those? Long-term savings is very simple. That's just money I'm putting away and I'm not touching. It's there for a rainy day, there for stuff in the future. Very long-term money to put away to make sure I always have some set aside in case I need it. Christmas fund is as it sounds. That's just money that I'm going to be putting towards Christmas gifts. That could be a birthday fund, that could be a holiday fund, that could be, car payment, that could be gas, that could be saving up for a new Xbox, whatever it is. Like, that's just showing you that I have another fund of money that I want to budget towards something, but you can really replace that with anything that you might fit your style a bit better. And then over here we have the personal fund, which that is just money that is going in my pocket, food, and probably more food. So that's what that is there. And those are the three categories that I've built. Because like I said, this is a very simple college budget. You can get really far more in depth than this. That's not hard to do. But really what I like to do is I would just take this kind of format. And let's say you have Christmas fund, maybe you're saving up for an Xbox, and maybe you have gas you have to pay per month, and maybe let's just say you have to pay your laundry bill if you go to a laundromat or whatever it might be. So maybe then what you do is you set up those categories. You can decide how you want to break up those income streams. So over here we have iPad 2, paintball gear, punching bag, and DVDs. These were things I sold. Again, you can see that we have the costs here. That's how much I got paid for them. And maybe the next question is, so why is it red and green? Has nothing to do with Christmas. So green represents the fact that I have received that money and it has been distributed to my accounts. It just lets me know that this is what I made, that's where I put it, and it's already there, it's taken care of, it's done. Red represents, hey, I haven't gotten this money yet. Maybe, it's still in transit, it didn't clear, anything like that, and that's gonna stay red until I separate it out through my funds. So what I'll do is, let's say I get paid for the iPad, no problem, come up here, and I'm gonna go ahead and mark that green. And then once I distribute that through my savings, I can highlight those and then mark them green. And I know that all of that stuff there has been taken care of and I don't have to worry about it. I know that I've received that money. Because the thing is, when you're selling a lot of items, I noticed this, and I realize that selling is a very easy way to make money in college. One thing I want to say is that this video is kind of a prequel to one that I've made that's gonna be posted in a couple days called 5 Simple Ways to Make Money Fast in College. I really like those 5 tips. I think they're really helpful. And the reason I want to post this video as well is to show that once you've made money from those tips, how do you successfully keep that money? How do you hold on to that money? How do you budget that money? After all, that's what we're talking about today. So stay tuned for that video, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, so you can see when we post it, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the 5 strategies I'm gonna share with you in that video made me over $400 in a month. It's not like an exuberant amount of money, but let's be honest, $400 can really change the game depending on the situation you're in. So stay tuned for that video. I think you're really gonna like it. Without further ado, let's keep learning how to save that money so when you do make that $400, it'll work for you. But the thing is, when you're selling a lot of items, you want to make sure that you're not losing track of what's where. Because I sold all 4 of these like the same time on different sites, and it was very hard. I was just trying to make sure, like, okay, there's money coming from eBay, there's money coming from OfferUp, there's money coming from family, there's money coming from here. I'm looking for a check, I'm looking for a direct deposit, I'm looking for a PayPal. I'm just making sure that all that money is clear so I don't lose anything in the mix. That's very important. That's why I'm talking about we want to know where your money's coming from so we can keep track of it and break it down. So let's jump in here. Let's say that we want to add in weekly paychecks. That's not how you spell paycheck. There we go. So we have paychecks, and you can see it added another column for us. So let's say that in a week, let's just say I get paid $200 in my paycheck. And so I got paid $200 in that paycheck, and let's say that I want to then add, $70 to my long-term savings. I want to go ahead and add, let's say, $70 to my Christmas fund, that's $140. And then let's say I want to put $60 in my pocket, and that's all ready to go. And then what I would do is, let's say that money is coming this, let's say Friday when I get paid. I'm going to keep that red until this Friday. And then when that money comes through and it clears, no problem, it's going to go green and we're set and good to go. Now, the other thing you notice is this up here. This shows the total amount of money that I have made. When does that change? What I've done is I've created an equation in Excel that automatically calculates the entire cost column. Whatever money I put in there, it automatically adds to the total. So you can see here, if I delete the 200, it goes back to 240. Put back in the 200, enter, boom, 440. That's awesome, and it just allows you to keep track of everything that you've made so far. And it's really easy to do that. Also, by the way, you can see that I don't have any sort of grid lines. That's just a personal thing. This was a template that I picked, and it's just the way it did it. And I don't personally mind it too much. But the way that we're gonna do that is we're gonna go equals, we're gonna go sum, then we're gonna highlight the rows that we want, hit enter, and it will do that for us. And now if we go into here, you can see the number down here, the 440. If I were to go in here and let's say change this to 34 instead of 32, you can see that it automatically goes up $2. So that's easy. I can show that one more time. It's gonna be equals sum. Click on sum, highlight what you want. What I like to do is I like to just go all the way down. That way it's preset for the next couple of income sources I choose. All right, hit enter, and boom, you're good to go. Now let's say that next week we get another paycheck from Starbucks in 2 weeks. And all right, let's say that paycheck, we worked a little bit less, so let's say it's $180, no problem. And you can see right there, it automatically adds to your total. So at quick glance, you can see exactly what you have. I really love that. I love that. So over here, next part, we have our accounts. So this is these 3 accounts right here, and we've added them over here. So what I do is, I mean, obviously, you know, $80, if we look at long-term savings in our costs over here, our long-term savings column, it shows what we have, but we don't actually get a total for what's in that account. Maybe there was stuff was already in there. So what these are gonna do over here is just gonna show us how much are already in those accounts. So what I'm gonna do is, let's go ahead and we'll delete this second paycheck, because that didn't actually happen. And we'll look at this paycheck that we added in. So we got $200, all right? So we added $70 to the long-term savings, we added $70 to the Christmas fund, and we added $60 to personal. For example, you're going to go into 60, you're gonna do 60 plus 60, it's 120. You're gonna go ahead and put that in, enter $581, it automatically adds to it, and then you'll go through and you'll do the exact same thing for long-term savings and Christmas funds. So we can do that real quick. We'll go up here, we'll put in 450 for 380, 450, enter. Again, that goes up again, and we'll come over here and we'll add 70 to this, which will put us at, I think, 151 and some cents. Again, super simple, and that is the same equation, equals sum, select your categories, and you can take care of that no problem. And it's gonna let you know exactly not only what's in your accounts, but how much money you have overall. Good. Now, finally, over here we have my commodities. This is stuff like silver, if you have any stock. This is a little more like, you may not have this depending on your situation. I do, I just wanna kind of keep track of it. So for example, I put like how much silver I have, how much gold I have, and then what I have is the total value of those 2 items, those 2 commodities, and that again is just totaled there at the top. As I said, guys, this is a very, very simple way to budget and maintain a good budget through college to make sure that your money is going to where it needs to be and you're not losing it and you're able to retain some of that money that you're making. Again, as I said, this is gonna be a video linked down below of 5 ways to make money fast in college. Go check it out. I'm really happy with it. I think all of the tips are gonna really help you make a couple quick extra bucks this holiday season. Might help with a little bit of making those ends meet when it comes to giving some gifts. Definitely helped me out. I know that it definitely got me out of some holes at different points. So go check that out. The other thing I wanna say is I wanna add a little quick commercial now. All right, guys, so here's the deal. I just wanna say really quick that I really appreciate all of the support that you've given me on these videos. We've just recently restarted the John.au channel, relaunched, if you will, and already the support that we're seeing is just, for me, it makes it all the more worth it. There's nothing more than I love than clicking on the video and just seeing how many of you guys are watching and getting value from it. It really warms my heart, makes it so much worth it, and I could not be more thankful for all of you for doing that. So again, I just want to say thank you and show my appreciation. The other way I want to show my appreciation to all of you is that I'm adding a new form of content creation here on the AU channel. Obviously, we have Instagram and we have YouTube right now. Those are kind of our primary sources of content creation and communicating with you, the viewer. But I'm adding a third one now. For those of you that are more into reading, you're gonna love this. John.au@tumblr.com. It's gonna be linked down below. We're gonna start blogging. There is already 2 blogs up there right now. You can go check them out. The blogs are gonna range from a whole bunch of different topics that I find interesting, topics that other people find interesting. It's gonna be talking about success, college, current events, past events, things that I find are very important for us to have an open discussion about, to be aware of, to talk about, and overall just gonna add value to everyone's life. And I love writing, so I want to share that with you, and also it gives me an opportunity to practice my skill of writing even more. So that's gonna be linked down below, John.au@tumblr. The other thing I want to say, the other big news that's gonna be linked down below as well, is I am officially a published writer. I wrote an article for a class. It had to do a lot with women's rights and something that was going on in France, which I don't want to get into too much right now. I don't want to kind of confuse this video. But if you're interested in that, I was published on a website called HerCampus. It's a national online magazine that I think would be really beneficial to everybody in college and everyone that's out of college that wants to kind of stay up to date on things that are going on. And HerCampus is definitely a very progressive and positive website, right, that I was lucky enough to be published with, and they were, found value in the article that I wrote. So if you're interested in checking that out, if HerCampus sounds something that is interesting to you as a female or male college student, go check it out. I highly recommend it. It's super professional, and there's a good chance that your college definitely probably participates in it as well. A whole bunch of colleges do. You can check that out right on their website. That'll be linked down below, as well as the article that I wrote for them. Again, I think it turned out really well, and also I think that the article that I did write is talking about some very important things that we need to be aware of that are currently going on in the world, So definitely go check that out if you kind of want to stay up to date on that type of stuff. But HerCampus is a really great website. No matter who you are in college, I'd recommend you go checking that out. Look at that article. I really appreciate it. And overall, guys, I appreciate you checking out this video. I hope that you found value in something here, whether it be the links or the budget. I know that they've all worked for me, and I can tell you right now that you guys are adding immense value to my life just by watching the videos. So you've already done your part for me. I'm trying to do my part for you, and I hope it's coming through that way. Overall, guys, love every single one of you. I appreciate you watching. I hope you're having a very highly successful day. Stay tuned for the new video. We're going to make some money, $400. It's going to happen. With that, guys, I appreciate you watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.